Welcome to the Integra LTC Solutions podcast series. This podcast series is a collection of discussions and interviews about our pharmacy technology products and the services helping to position our customers for the best possible outcomes for operational success. Our mission of mindful design and thoughtful service drives us to deliver the best software and technology for your long-term care pharmacy operations to help you deliver the best patient care. The Integra LTC Solutions podcast series is a part of the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
All right, we are doing the Pharmacy Podcast event sponsored by Integra here at the conference. My name's Chad Worz. I'm the CEO of American Society of Consultant Pharmacists. I also have the founder of the podcast, Pharmacy Podcast Network, Todd Eury, with me, helping me today interview. And we have John Jordan from Innovatix at the booth. Hi, John.
Good afternoon or morning, whatever this is. Afternoon.
Hello. So, I have always been interested in getting Innovatix involved in how much subject matter intelligence you guys have for the business of long-term care and senior care pharmacy. And you're keeping it all to yourself, so we got to get you on this podcast and share some of that.
So maybe that's a good parlay into a good question.
Yeah.
So, what are you seeing out in the marketplace with it? Your clients are struggling with, reaching out for, need, from your perspective?
Reimbursement, just in general, all aspects of it, whether it's generic equivalency rates, whether it's audits, every facet of the reimbursement. That obviously from a GPO perspective, how we make our money is on the purchasing side, but we spend probably 90% of our time working with pharmacies on the reimbursement side of things. That's where their big heartburn is. I think for the most part, meets the
road too. That's it.
For the most part, when it comes to purchasing, and I say for the most part, the wholesalers, the GPOs, the pharmacies kind of have that down, and it's almost a perfect science, but when it comes to the reimbursement side, it's very much a struggle for everybody.
Yeah. As business owners, as operators, we all, and I know this because of this shiny toy that I constantly grabs my attention and I'm off to the next thing, but biosimilars. Tell us a little bit about, is this really a market trend that's going to stick? And is there an opportunity, if you become a subject matter expert in a specific disease state that a specific biosimilar fits into, that you could really become profitable in it as well as helping people?
Yes and yes. I do believe that it is, at least for the foreseeable future, I do believe it is here to stick. And then second question, yes, if you build a niche for yourself, you can make it a profit center.
What disease state do you think, John?
Now you're putting me on the spot. Which disease state?
Let me jump in while you're thinking.
Yeah, you're the clinician here.
If you go down the history of pharmaceuticals in this country, I don't think we're going to be making blockbuster Lipitors anymore that work in everybody. We're going to be making meds that are very successful in people with very specific diseases or with a very particular set of genetic code that work for them. And I think when you look at anything else we buy in this country that's expensive, you get a YouTube video, you get an instruction booklet, you have technicians that come and put it together for you in your house or whatever. But when you buy a drug, it's just kind of like, here's your drug, and that's it. So I think the specialty pharmacies have put themselves in position to say, we're the care coordination of this drug once you get placed on it. We verify that you take it. We're involved in your education. We want to make sure it has good outcomes, and we want to make sure it doesn't have any bad outcomes. So I think that's where you're seeing that trend, and I think you're right. I think it does continue. I think it has to.
And obviously, I think it's wherever you could build that niche, honestly. But what we've seen recently, and some members of ours, is in the Hep C market, of course, hemophilia to some degree. Those are some of the ones that I've seen people have success, but it doesn't mean there's not others. There's plenty out there.
No, right, and I think you made another good point, which is Hep C drug at $85,000 a year. You can have a pharmacy that just does that Hep C drug. Whereas maybe you look at something like MS and you've got a specialty pharmacy that now has 7 or 8 drugs that they manage as part of that disease state. So there's all kinds of forms of that sort of evolving.
What I'm thinking about is I'm 46 years old and I'm cognizant about the future of my health. So when I think of the ASCP, when I think of Integra, when I think of Innovatix, I'm thinking of living better, not just staying alive. I don't just want to be alive. I want to live better.
Sure.
So what your customers What are your customers looking to as a buying group, as a GPO, to guide them in a bigger picture, to give them succession, to give them long-term success, other than reimbursement, which is the easy one to go to?
Sure.
Let's talk about making money in this industry rather than trying to avoid an audit or reimbursement.
Protecting money versus making money.
That's right.
No, right.
As far as patient care, one of the big things that we've been working with folks on is looking to the future, to your point. Not that you couldn't improve on what's going on today, but looking to the future of value-based care, value-based reimbursement, going back to that reimbursement word. But I think that is where the industry is going. There's quite a ways to go before Medicare Part D is even part of that conversation. I don't think we're very close yet, but I think it's headed there. So we've really been working very closely with folks and preparing themselves that when the ACO or population health organization does come knocking on the door of long-term care pharmacy, that not only do you have ideas, you've already have things you have been doing.
Yeah, you're down the road.
Yeah, it's because it's great to say you have all these ideas, but if you're the guy or gal that's already got procedures in place, you've already been doing disease state management programs that have successes, and you've tracked those outcomes, and you can demonstrate that to these organizations, I think that's going to put you in a much better spot. And so we've been working with pharmacies to try to help them build pilot programs, reach out to these ACOs, even though they're nowhere near ready going to the LTC market yet, as far as the pharmacy side of things. But letting them know what you do, what value can you as a pharmacist provide in that healthcare setting, and provide value to them.
It makes sense.
Yeah, that's awesome.
John.
And I think it's a good message to get out, because I don't think you naturally think about that kind of service from your GPO, and I think that's great.
No, absolutely.
Planting the
and
seeds.
we're uniquely set up, with our ownership, with Premier being the largest acute care GPO. We were uniquely set in that, but I think all pharmacies need to be looking at that.
Well, and you have people that have had a lot of experience in long-term care that can then look into Premier and look at all these resources
Absolutely.
you have and know how to translate and pull it out.
Correct.
That makes sense for your client.
Correct.
I think that's big.
John, thanks so much for being on the show and sharing your knowledge with us. We'd like to have you back on the network.
Sure.
Senior RX Radio is one of our dedicated channels that does nothing but focuses on senior care and long-term care pharmacy, sponsored by the American Society of Consultant Pharmacists. But Innovatix, you guys are a champion. You've been around a while. You know what's going on. So I think there's lots of intelligence, not only from your executive team, but we need to get some of your customers on there to kind of tell them their stories from their perspective.
Very cool. We'd love to. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you,
John.
John.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Integra LTC Solutions podcast series, part of the Pharmacy Podcast Network. Integra designs, develops, and supports long-term care pharmacy software solutions for the LTC pharmacy market. Focused on meeting customer needs, our mission of mindful design and thoughtful service drives us to create the most functional, intuitive products on the market. Contact us today to talk about your long-term care pharmacy's operations. Find us on the web at integragroup.com.